All right, welcome in. How you doing? Cornelius Brad Hanna, Global Sports Broadcasting Network. Got some deep conversations, talk radio, talk TV's podcasts. Hey, come on in with your comments. Got a couple of guests coming in. Mancini's coming in at the top of the hour. We got so much to talk about. I'm going to set it up in 30 seconds. You want to stay with me? Get ready. And here we go, folks. 30-second countdown for Hanna Time. Next. All right, guys, welcome back in Hanna Time on Global Sports Broadcasting Network, and got some big topics for you tonight. We're going to have some conversations. So we're going to have some debates. We're going to get into some things that are controversial, like a lot of stuff, a lot of athletes speaking out from all over the place. Basketball, football, it's just going off the charts. Aaron Rodgers going to the Jets. Lamar Jackson, can he get a contract? Who wants to pay for him? Who wants to make a pitch at this guy? And will he get what he wants too? Because does he hold out? Also, the brain, cognitive in sports. You know how the brain itself and the cognitive thinking has helped a lot of athletes. And in one particular, and Russell Wilson, the story that came out early this week, that maybe could be part of the issue with his poor performance last season in Denver. Charles Barkley blasting racist remarks about MVPs in the NBA, calling out a particular player former particular player about white MVP basketball players. He didn't like it. He went off big time. One of them was Steve Nash, because Notrovic and a couple other, three, actually, in the last, 22 years, 3 white guys have won the MVP in the NBA. But somebody makes a comment, like it's a joke, like, how does a white guy win the MVP? Barkley didn't like that. He attacked that comment really fast. Also, John Morant, the basketball player with the gun issue, a lot of players who have dealt with the gun issue themselves have spoke out looking to help him. And Morant has his own issues to deal with the NBA and so forth. But, when it comes to Carmelo Anthony, he spoke out about that. We'll get into that a little bit. How about this? It's kind of weird, though. Gasol, former Laker, is getting his jersey retired with the Lakers. It's going to go up with those big names. I'm not feeling that. Your thoughts on that? His number being retired with the Lakers, who had a nice run with them, championships, but he played in a lot of other places too. The Saints becoming the favorites in the NFC South now with Derek Carr as their quarterback. The Boston Bruins, Stanley Cup or bust. Really good hockey season so far. Excellent. Powerhouse, but they got to win it to finish it. Also, baseball's World Cup dream has a really going out, marketing it, promoting it, bring out all the former Hall of Famers to kind of really push this product. So they have their deeper version globally with the World Baseball Classic itself, baseball, basically the World Cup-ish kind of thing-ish. Suns' Devin Booker, who has had a great run until the injury of Kevin Durant last night, but you can see the combination of the two together when that happens again. And we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Durant's injury itself. Where is it? 2 to 3 weeks we're hearing or more. Kyler Murray, the teammates calling him out again. This guy cannot just get a break, but you bring it onto yourself. We're going to dive into that off the top of the show with the Phoenix Suns and Booker and Durant. Then we're going to come in with some guests talking about all those other issues around the NBA and the NFL and other stories too, and some fun stuff at the back end of it. And then Mancini comes in and we'll finish the show right here on Hanna Time on Global Sports Broadcasting Network. I appreciate it, guys. I love you for coming in. But we want to go off the charts on this one again. I mean, are we really going to go Kyler Murray again? It's like deja vu, off season. Here we go again with Murray stuff, but it's coming in a different way. But he brought it onto himself. And, he's a highly talented player for his height. Okay. But when his offensive lineman, well-respected guy around the NFL and the community, wherever he's been, he's played in New York, he's played in Pittsburgh, he's playing with the Cardinals right now, Kelvin Beachum, and spoke out on a local radio station here in Arizona and Phoenix itself. And he didn't blast his quarterback, but he kind of put him on the spot a little bit when he says he has to grow up. Now, I can take that two ways. Okay. I can take that Kyler Murray needs to grow up as an athlete, as a maturing quarterback, or is it really the locker room, the off-the-field stuff, everything else that goes around and being what you want to call a leader of a football team? This is pretty big, though, because it doesn't go away. Now he has Kyler Murray's wide receiver buddy from Oklahoma, Marquise Brown, speaking up and defending his quarterback, and taking a little of a shot at Kelvin Beachum. Like, we got drama. It's March. We haven't even gotten through we're barely getting into the beginning of the NFL, off season and everything else. And the Cardinals just can't get out of their way. Let's hope this thing can move on fast as it just kind of stormed in. But when players speak, players are talking and have not stopped talking, and some are probably holding their breath, okay, about their quarterback or their former quarterback in Kyler Murray. I'm kind of tired of just jabbing Kyler Murray for 4 years. And I was extremely hard on him in the beginning. I took a lot of shots, but kind of played out to where I would say, told you so kind of stuff. But I'm not going to toot my horn on this one because I'm wanting Kyler Murray to find a way to improve his game and his leadership. And I'm just hoping all this stuff can kind of change him and recognize it. Instead of, are you going to get a chip on your shoulder, become more bratty about it, or are you going to say, you know what? I got paid. I'm a leader of this team. I got to rehab myself. I got to come back stronger, and I got to rally my team around me, Kyler Murray, because my linemen aren't happy, okay? There are players, there's chat all over the NFL, and luckily I got this contract because, I could be off this team and looking for another team right now if things didn't go well in the offseason last year. Murray got the best part of this whole thing. He's paid. But now he's got to show up and perform. And does he care enough? And I believe as a competitor, he will show up and play because he's a good ball player for what he has been dealt with his physical attributes. But, the guy can throw. He can throw. He can throw a deep ball. He can get out. He's mobile, right? He understands the passing game. And we don't know how he fits into the next system. But when players are taking shots at you still, at some point, if it's now or was it before or is it going to be in a few months, is Kyler Murray going to be able to just snap out of this and realize his maturity level means more? And maybe he doesn't understand that because Kyler Murray, again, star high school player, star college football player. We're going to remind everybody that stuff, right? Comes into the NFL, number one pick every he is the dog of the dogs, and he just keeps on having it until now he's taking the heat, and he's not used to it, and he has to mature over that. And you get that kid or that person who doesn't like being talked at and is sensitive to it. This is the NFL. Got to get tough. You got to raise and rise up through this stuff. And I have hope that he can find a way. And maybe this injury has a blessing in disguise for him. But when Beachum speaks up, and he tried to backpedal a little bit on the local radio station here in Phoenix about, because he was challenged on a couple of questions. And he says, no, he just needs to grow up. And that's like an open-end question. That's an open-end something. So you just got to laugh a little bit. And then you got to laugh at Marquise Brown's comment, calling it collusion. Now you're calling out who's colluding in your locker room. Like they're all colluding. Like that is, I guess he doesn't understand that, what that really means. But when you see that word and you're like, you just turned up the turmoil in your locker room, Marquise Brown. Now they better have some, go out and get some burgers and just sit down and go, dudes, like, we're a team and we got to come together here. Okay. But don't call out my quarterback. That's my quarterback. Who said that? Terrell Owens, right? But it's tough love. At some point, you got to give tough love. You love it, but you got to be tough. And right now, Murray has to deal with the tough love aspect of it all because we're hoping, and they're hoping that this guy can overcome and get through and rise up and be a better player when he's ready to go. And when that day comes, who knows? But as you look on the screen right now, that's Beacham, Kellen Beacham, blocking for Kyler Murray. So I don't think he'll continue to block for his quarterback. He's a great guy, and he's stepping up and he's challenging his quarterback. Something has to change. And I love this story today because it gives us something to talk about, but it's old. It's like the broken record, but no, it's another broken record. It just starts to play and skip through again. So we got a lot of broken skip records now with this Murray offseason drama. In the days of Kyler Murray's life is the name of the show. All right, let's move on past this topic. Now we're going to go into the Phoenix Suns. And, recently the player of the week was Devin Booker. He definitely prospered with Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant being around. Now Durant is hurt from last night. His debut in Phoenix came to a crashing halt for 2 to 3 weeks. They say that the swelling has gone down, that this guy is able to be ready to go maybe 2 to 3 weeks and get ready and prepped for the playoff run. And that's the biggest part of this, right? But if this doesn't improve and then starts to become lingering, he's an older guy, a lot of miles in that leg. And, he's had a lot of leg injuries, this guy. Fingers are crossed in Phoenix because it looked so promising that this team was the front runner of the Western Conference to come out and go to the finals, and definitely had a great shot of winning it all with Durant. Now they have to win without him. Get ready. But, man, what a dynamic that we're missing out. And Durant, is Durant's home debut going to be, game one of a playoff game or something like that? Because that would be kind of crazy because that's how often has that happened. But when you're talking about Booker and these two guys together, they are quickly, the chemistry is amazing with these two guys, right? And everybody around the Suns. And that's what hurts when the injury occurred last night, because you want to see this grow. The NBA was excited about it. Now it's just another story about Kevin Durant injuries. He's been injured everywhere he goes, and he's just been a high-level performer. And as long as he can stay healthy, this guy, I mean, it was a freak accident. The guy, I don't know what it was. They said there was a wet part of the floor and he slipped. I don't know about that. If it was, man, you better take care of your floor, Phoenix. But the Phoenix Suns itself are going to have to wait it out. And it sucks. It really does, because I was excited. I was watching more Suns games because it's the dynamic. It's a great combo of really 4 players in the starting role that really were working amazingly together. And, they had to go to Dallas a couple of days back. Then, they beat Dallas on, and that was a rough game, was a playoff atmosphere. And, but the Dallas Mavericks showed everybody how they can play the Suns. And it is a concern for the Phoenix Suns still to this day, but it is allow the 5th guy, the backup guy coming on the court, to take the shot. They're going to still double team. Dallas showed the Suns and maybe the blue book, the blueprint on it, how to defend the Suns when Durant is on the court. When Durant's on the court. All right. But he's not. Durant is out. And now the double teams are coming for Devin Booker. He's dealt with it before. And maybe the chemistry has built a little bit, and the Suns have, really mended as a team, and they're going to have to learn to play without Kevin Durant and find a nucleus, because in the playoffs, Durant is not going to play the whole entire game. They're going to have to find ways when he's off the court, and that's the time of the game the Suns are going to have to find out if they're able to withstand and hold their lead, or just slow down everything as their guys get rest on the bench. But with Durant out, it's going to be a challenge. And but the Dallas Mavericks said they know how to defend the Suns. Don't worry about the little guy. Don't worry about the guy. It's going to have to be the small guy. The small role player has to step up, and they're going to challenge the Suns for that to happen when Durant's in the game, and that's a fact. And we saw it against Dallas. But with Durant on the floor, the Suns still were able to win. So on the road, and that's a tough win on the road. And in the playoffs, it's never going to be easy. But you may have a formula, but you still got to outscore the Phoenix Suns. So there's a lot. I missed it. I wanted to see the Suns play and watch other teams kind of defend them and watch what they're trying to do. Are they going to copycat what the Dallas Mavericks did? Or, do they have the manpower? Good teams with better players on the court or better, deeper bench can actually cover and defend the Suns better. So it's a nice dynamic when it comes playoff time to talk about it and anticipate what's going to play out. But I wanted to see it for the rest of the season to get a better determination if what the Mavericks did is something that the Suns will have a bigger issue going into the playoffs with Durant on the court itself. All right. I got some guests coming in a little bit. I know they're running on the hot leg of everything. Yes, I got Kelsey Nelson coming in. She is a sportscaster journalist on the East Coast, but has covered nationally and internationally sports itself. But she wants to come in. We're going to talk about the NBA and the NFL with her and some of the quirky things about it. And as we are moving through now, another big story today, and I'm going to hold off on the bigger, some other bigger ones, is this. I'm going to pop it on the screen. And I never talk about this stuff. I never do. The WWE, yeah, that's a great photograph, by the way. I like the photo, is trying to get into Michigan, Indiana, and Colorado sports books. They are proposing and basically putting it out there that they're looking to get in for gambling purposes for the WWE, which we all know is planned acting of the outcomes, win and lose, right? Or draw. And how do you gamble on something like that when somebody on the inside knows who's going to win? And how do they monitor who's going to bet, and make a ton of money? Like somebody within the WWE can go, hey, Cornelius. All right. Okay. So, I forget the guy's name. I don't care. He's going to win tonight, right? And the odds are blah, blah, blah. Take it to the bank. Take it to the bank. How many, this is crazy that anybody, any state would accept that. Okay. But do you care? Are you willing to gamble on something that you have no inside information on? Right. But somebody will. But do you care enough? Does it bring more interest to your sport? Is this another way for the WWE to get involved with it where all the other sports are now being gambled on? But is this really a sport? It's like Hollywood, right? It's acting. It's, they do a great job, right? And everybody falls for the act. This is like, soap operas, right? It's like, it's not real. It looks great. A lot of action, blood, it's intense, right? Got great legends of the wrestling history, but gambling. How can you gamble on something that is predetermined? But then again, somebody's going to say, hey, Hanna, they're fixing games in the NBA. They're fixing games in this sport, Hey, you may have something there. Maybe, and you can lean on that. That's all good assumptions, I guess. But we've seen some crazy things in other sports. But in reality, everybody knows who's winning, or do they? The WWE fights. I just cannot see Indiana, Colorado, and Michigan. Those are the three states they're targeting to open up gambling on WWE fights. That's help us. And speaking of fans, okay. An article came out. A poll came out. They did their research. When it comes to the fans care more about winning than your payroll. meaning whatever team they're rooting for, they really don't care. Like, we can talk numbers and it's an interesting dynamic because you're trying to win and you got to like create your roster and around the financial part of it all. But really at the bottom line is the fans just want to win, and whatever cost it takes, whatever maximum thing you can do, that's the expectation. Max it out. We don't want $20 million under the cap. Max that sucker, because we want to win and put together the roster you need with that, say, $20 million that you're trying to save. What are you trying to save it for? Let's win, right? You haven't won ever, some teams, right? Like the Cardinals have never won. Win, right? So fans want to win more than just worrying about payroll. Because in the end, it comes back to that. They go to the games to root them on to win. They want the championship. They're hurt by it. They're bothered by it. They get upset by it when they don't win. Then nobody's going home going, oh my God. Like we all worried about when Lamar got his big dollars or Deshaun Watson got, I go like, oh, what the heck are they doing? But it's not my money. It's not your money. And you're like, well, who else am I going to pay for? What am I going to do? Well, they structure stuff, teams, and they can, like Kyler Murray's contract doesn't really hit hard until after year 3, right? From what I understand. Or is it 2? No, after year 2. So going into year 3, that's where it really balloons, I believe. And that's where, they manage stuff. So you got to figure things out now. So later on, they can work it. And then they can do more stuff with Murray's contract. So, that's what they do all over the, I remember Ben Roethlisberger, they redid his contract 10,000 different ways throughout his like 18, 19-year career, right? So don't worry about that. I'm not worried about contracts and payroll stuff. They find a way. Sometimes it hurts when they have to cut somebody, a nice veteran, and it just makes sense because they got to maintain. That's the hard part. But in the end, you just care about winning. And fans in any sport, that's the bottom line. They just want to go buy the hat with the championship stuff on it, and that's what they want. They want to brag. That's what they need. They're putting their emotional time into it for the win. So the owners and the organizations, they know that. And they're trying to balance it all out. But, in the end, it's the fans, what they really care about. And how much do the ownerships around all sports really care about that? And I would say there are teams that would like to win, but it's about the bottom line financially. So, all right, comments coming in. I appreciate it as we're waiting in on a couple of my guests, but I'm just enjoying what I'm doing right now. Let me see here. Let's see here. I got comments. I can see you guys. There we go. Hey, Mark, how you doing? Almost seems like the Nets couldn't wait to get rid of Durant and Kyrie. And then you're right. They're older. They break down. It's been troubled in Brooklyn. And yes, they brought in some young talent, the Nets. And they have a young nucleus that they're building around. And they're trying to hang on to a playoff spot, the Brooklyn Nets. But the bottom line came down to money and long term, and they dumped these players. They got rid of them. A new change. And, the Nets are not unfamiliar with this territory. It was Paul Pierce, a couple of years ago. Remember that? Where he was part of this Brooklyn Nets team with a bunch of veterans, and they made a big run. They got close to the NBA Finals, just like a couple of years with the Nets recently with Durant's run. They got very close. If it wasn't for Durant's foot on the 3-point line against Milwaukee 2 years ago, it would have been the Nets versus the Suns in the NBA Finals. I don't know if you remember that. I think it was a Game 7, right? And if it was a 3, game over. It was only for 2, foot on the line, went to overtime. That's how close that came. So, but time was up, and the Nets are doing what they're going to do. But the Nets are in a better place financially and looking to win in the long run. And that's the case. But, getting Durant and not worrying about, look what the Suns are doing right now, since we're talking about that trade still, is they didn't care. They're willing to open up their wallet. They're looking to win now. They want to win. And like other teams, Dallas improved. The Clippers improved, right? Teams went out. The Knicks improved. Teams went out and got players and took on some contracts because they see the opportunity to win now. Now, if they weren't in position to win, teams will just, not go for it. And you think, what the heck is Brooklyn doing? They were there. They had a good record, and they had Durant, and they saw something different. They didn't like how it's going. The chemistry was not there, and Durant was hurt, and he's hurt again. Remember, Durant was hurt during the trade, and now he's hurt again. So I have to play this whole thing out again. But the fans just want to win. That's all they care about, and they all know about that. They really do. All right, more comments, and I want to make sure I get these in. Let's see. The heartbreaker. Yeah, I know. It's a heartbreaker, Marcus. Kathy says hello. She's watching. Mary's in the house. She's watching. Todd says Kevin Durant is injury prone. Everyone's screaming we are going to win the championship. Oh, they will if everybody stays healthy. I really believe the Suns got a great chance. I can't say they will because there's Milwaukee got better with some trades, right, and picked up some players, right. So there's some good teams out there that will end up in the finals, and we'll see how it plays. Isabel in the house. Let's see. Nathan Ramsey. Hey, Nathan. How you doing, Nate? Warren Knopp in the house. Elizabeth Fielder in the house. Glenn Ripple in the house. And let's move on. Okay. All right. What do I have for you here? All right. The pitch clock in baseball. Are you okay with this? All right. I got a bunch of things to talk about, but we're going to start off with it's controversial in a way because pitchers are holding on to the ball before they throw to stall and force the batter to guess when he's going to throw. And they want to step out. They're comfortable in the stepping out of the batter's box, but they can't. The batters has to stay in to a certain amount of time. If they step out, it's called a pitch clock. So everything is the batter's being watched, the pitcher's being watched. The batters will make the adjustment. I am not too concerned. They will make the adjustment, give it some time, but I don't think it's that drastic of a shift. They'll figure it out. Just stay in there, dig in, and hit. Okay? Now, here's the thing that kind of bothers me about the pitch clock is there's flies in the summertime. There's stuff flying around. You get dirt in your eye. Your contacts gets a little bit, and you just need a timeout, right? Now, it hasn't been clarified that an injury timeout, like it has to be an obvious one, and the umpire is going to have to determine at that spot there's an injury timeout because things in your eye, I consider an injury. Okay? Guy falls down and twists his ankle a little bit, gets up, he's limpy and gimpy. Guy gets hit in the shin, right? I mean, are you going to give him a chance to step out of the batter's box? Or are you going to count him out or, give him a strike because you stepped out and it took too long and you got back in? It takes too much time, right? So there's got to be some give and take, and it's going to be determined by the umpire. So we're going to play this out. It's going to be interesting, and I just hope the umpires do it fairly, okay, about judging that. But Wandy Peralta, as you see him on the screen there, he struck out a batter in 20 seconds. That's what baseball wants. They want to cut down on the entire length of a baseball game. We were watching 3.5-hour games to 4-hour games. This is going to change that a lot. I don't think every game is going to be reduced, but things happen. But you can probably project about 20 to 30 minutes cut from a game, a baseball game, which probably will end around 2.5 hours to 2 hours and 40 minutes. It's like that's what they're projecting, and the math seems right. But when a pitcher can strike out somebody in 20 seconds, because he's got to get the ball, he's got to set up and throw it because he's on the clock, the pitch clock. So I'm going to go to some baseball games this year. I've watched this in the minor leagues. I watched this in the Arizona Fall League. I've been watching the pitch clock for a number of years now, and it never really affects the game. I don't think it's going to. It's just an adjustment. I just want to make sure that it's called fairly. Because that's a judgment situation about an umpire. And we'll probably have some quirks and issues. But there have been pitchers in Major League Baseball that have milked the clock to the very end to freeze the batter as long as they can. All right? Batters want to get in there when they're ready and hit. Now they have to make that adjustment. Okay? And pitchers like to pitch quick. A lot of them do. A lot of them like to get the ball, get into rhythm. And that's one of the best things about a pitcher is getting into rhythm. They're going to be pushed. Okay, so we'll find out. Okay, but the pitch clock has been stirred up over the spring training already, and we're looking forward to it. You know, the one thing has been stirred up a little bit, and not to make a joke of it, but I have to, because I haven't been the biggest Altuve fan because of the cheating scandal, which really pissed me off, and always will. But the guy is a great player in other ways too, because he's small. He plays bigger. He plays like an Aaron Judge, but he's 3 times smaller than Aaron Judge. Okay. And now they have big bases. So we found out how tall and how big, I should say, the bases are. So they put Altuve on top of the big bag so you can determine the size of the bag. Okay. And I cannot believe what I just saw. I just can't believe it. So there's Altuve. He's standing. That's Altuve. It's a joke, folks. But the bag is big, and I'm okay with that too. But I'm going to take shots at Altuve because I won't forgive. I can't. It's the purity of the game of baseball. You know, there's always some type of cheating in a way of within the game between the lines. But when you go beyond that, never. The Major League Baseball should have done a lot more to that team and guys like that. They should have been kicked out of the league. I mean, there's been other players who've been kicked out over the history of the game or suspended for a long period of time. So, all right, Altuve, you're never going to get me looking at you in some bright lights ever again. I'm still talking baseball. Coming up here, let me get that off the screen real quick. We're coming up in a little bit. We're going to talk about Charles Barkley attacking these racist remarks. It's incredible stuff. And I don't think anybody's really I don't know why it's not getting enough publicity because, you get a black man denouncing another black man in racist situation. This is pretty interesting stuff. I got to jump on it. But before we do, I want to finish up more baseball stuff. And this is Adrian Gonzalez talking about the World Cup. Baseball trying to push for the World Cup image, the globalization of it, the interest of it. Hey, baseball is being played all over the world. Okay. It has been forever. Right. And, thanks to guys like Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig who traveled the world introducing the sport when, back then it was, nobody even knew what that was. But he's not digging this PR thing. I'm not quite sure why he seems to be bitter about it, but they're not even close to being the Little League World Series. And he's talking like he's hurt by something about baseball. Like, does something happen to the end of Gonzalez's career that he's taking shots like this? Just play it, buddy. Just let this play out. If you love baseball, promote it, celebrate it, and keep moving it along. Get out there and be a part of it. Don't knock it down. So this was kind of it's a little bit of a downer seeing a former Major League Baseball player who had a great career, right, taking shots at the sport that paid him and the globalization of it. It's okay. It's a great game. We love it. It's our summer sport. Okay? And it has been around. Now, is it ever going to be the World Cup? No. I guess not. I'd be surprised. I'd be very surprised. But let it be, man. Stop this nonsense and being so negative on that. Okay? So, Gonzalez he says they're trying to become the World Cup, but they're not even close to being the Little League World Series, which is wrong because people are going to watch the World Cup, the World Baseball Classic more than the Little League World Series. They are. And Fox has it on FS1, Fox Sports 1. So now, for the first time in a while, it's going to be seen a lot more. It's going to be on your TV set. It's going to be all over. It's social media, live, right? It's not the Major League Baseball Network carrying this classic, World Baseball Classic tournament, right? Basically, right? So Fox has got it. And, Fox, they do a great job promoting it. They know how to hype things up really well, and they make it very entertaining. So, and they've been doing baseball forever, right? They got the games of the week. They got the World Series, the All-Star. They know this is their stuff. So Fox is going to crush it. And they're going to be great stories. It's going to be really interesting how they handle it, right? I'm going to go to a couple of them here. They're in Phoenix, the USA's in their group bracket. So it'll be kind of fun to watch. And seeing global world baseball, at its best. I'm going to root on USA. You got Mexico, they got Canada. Who else I'm thinking of here? Colombia, I wouldn't mind the Colombia game. I like to be around those fans. That could be a fun spirited game. All right. So fans, baseball fans, enjoy spring training. Will continue even with the World Baseball Classic going on as they rev up for the opening day of Major League Baseball. All right, more comments coming in itself. And I'm going to see here. Okay, gotcha. I'm going to comment here real quick to somebody. And I appreciate your time, folks. Coming up here in a few minutes, too. It's there we go. All right, Mancini's coming in a little about 10 after 8, 10 after the hour. That's fine. All right, there we go. One more baseball story. Remember this guy? Fernando Tatis Jr. He got busted for PEDs, denied it. A lot of players deny it, and makes you wonder, just own up to it if you did. And Dodger fans don't like Padre fans. They booed Tatis. Fans are booing Tatis. We've been down this road before with players taking PEDs. The Robinson Cano story, hey, it's there's a bunch of guys who play for the Boston Red Sox, right? Poppy, who got busted a few times but never got scolded for it, right? Manny Wood, right? Manny Ramirez, right? He also got busted for it. So we've been down this road before with baseball players, Ryan Braun, right? But he's getting booed, right? So yeah, boo him just as much as somebody else cheating the game. And I do respect the fans who are not happy with cheating the game itself. Okay. And I'm going to say this right now, folks. The majority of these players are coming from South America. You can do the numbers, folks. You can look at it. But the majority that are getting caught are South American ball players. And I know it's touchy and people are sensitive about it. But let's kind of dissect it a little bit. They come from poor neighborhoods, poor countries, right? And they're looking to get out, and the baseball's their ticket, okay? And they'll do whatever it takes. They're 15, 16 years old, and they're starting to shoot up already with, PED stuff so they can get to the next level. And somehow they're supposed to be screened and tested and things like that. And then they got to maintain it. So anytime your team grabs onto a ball player, for me, anybody from South America itself, got to do your homework. You really got to, and it's hard, and you got to do your testing on it. And are you willing to let it slide? Okay. But you better make sure before you sign a young talent that at 16 years old, 18 years old, that you're so excited about because he had great numbers, great this, great that. He's strong, big, but make sure he's not taking stuff, right? Because these guys have to maintain it, and baseball has to do a better job of it. And a lot of guys do it for injury purposes too. They try to, off-season stuff, and they think they have it figured out, and they keep trying. But that's my take on that, okay? There are other players like Ryan Braun, right? He got busted. A lot of players have gotten busted. Roger Clemens got busted. Well, he denies it. Andy Pettitte got busted, and he didn't deny it. And Andy Pettitte, everybody don't care about Andy Pettitte because he came quick and he just basically just admitted it. But a lot of these guys don't. Mark McGwire, right? So, but a lot of them, you got to be careful when you bring them up. Young ball players, do your homework. Do your homework. I know it's controversial, and I know you're sitting there going, you can't say that. I'm telling you, history speaks more, right? There's a lot, all other ball players, right? But a lot of them are coming from South America because they're in poverty, and you can't blame them for trying, because if they get busted and kicked out of the league, all right, I got paid. I just saved my family. I made a better life out of it. Okay, there it is. I mean, Robinson Cano is a great example. Guy got paid, and then he gets busted big time. And he's never been the same ball player off the PEDs too, by the way. Okay. All right. Hope you appreciate that itself. Okay. I got so many great baseball stories. I'm sorry. I'm keep pushing around. Look at this guy. This guy plays for the Minnesota Twins. He's 6'6". His name is Grayson Griner. You know, not the not the basketball player, but he's 6'6", catching for the Twins. I don't know if he makes the team, but what I got to see is his catch and release for throwing batters out. Okay. I mean, base runners out, I should say. Base runners out. You know, stealing second base, stealing third base, you know, getting out of the catcher's position itself. This is an incredible story. And I've been trying to find him, you know, a Twins game. I want to watch this guy. A 6'6". He's got a big frame, great target for a pitcher to throw to. Okay. But I want to see him get out of the crouch, you know, and just throw the ball down the second and see if he can actually throw it, you know, quick enough, because you got to have a quick release. That's why a lot of catchers are short and stocky. You know, they can get out of their stance and fire quickly. Long arms, long legs, don't know. It's going to be interesting to see. And, we'll, you know, maybe first base in the future for this guy, or third base. We'll see. But 6'6", sports, in all sports, are just guys are just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And, you know, Aaron Judge has opened that floodgate of that avatar baseball player. You know, the 5 tool, I can do everything. And he did it. Now other positions are getting there. Catcher of all positions, catcher. I thought for sure I would never see that. We'll see. Okay. I like it. I like all that. All right. Great story, you know, and nobody talks about things like this, but you know, when you play in cold weather and you got a baseball program in college or high school, right? Where do you play? Where do you practice? I remember playing, I think it was high school. It was high school. And we had to go down to Princeton. We were playing a game in Princeton. I don't know if it was a club league. I don't know what it was. I forget. But I just remember going to Princeton University. And I remember going inside an indoor, it was baseball indoors, right? And it's cold back east, right? March and everything, it's cold. You know, try to hit a ball with aluminum bat. It hurts your hands. And I remember that. And I thought this was the coolest thing ever, right? I mean, they've had domes before, but like at that late age and that level, I'm thinking, wow. So we got a chance to practice and warm up that way before we went onto the field. I forget how it played out. I don't know who won the game. I just remember the indoor, high ceiling, you know, Princeton was practicing over there and we were practicing somewhere on the other side of the indoor plays. I thought it was pretty cool. But Minnesota, University of, Minnesota itself, cold weather. How do they look at this? Like baseball has always designed their stadiums in the old days for a multi-purpose. This is the old original Yankee Stadium, you know, the house that Ruth built. This is it. This is before the first game is ever played. And you can see the dynamics. It was built for football and also baseball. The football giants played there, other events there, college football was there, right? You can see it. And that's how they were looking at it. They're looking at to maximize. Today, they're still playing football in baseball stadiums. But how about a football stadium where a baseball game could be played? How about that? Yes, Minnesota, where the Vikings play, the collegiate team, Minnesota, playing a game. And look at that. So you can see that they can blow out the right field stands, which is like the sidelines. So those are retractable stuff, obviously. And I guess they were always prepared for that. And remember, they, Final Fours and, they have other major events in there too. So this is a multi-purpose stadium itself, unlike some other stadiums. But I thought this was cool. And I just, so if you want to play baseball and hey, Minnesota wants to give you a full ride, you're like, I'm not going. It's freaking cold. Look where you're going to play, dude. You're going to play in a big arena. Excited for that. So, and I think it's great to promote that too, by the way. Let's see here. I got my guest is trying to come in or not. I just got to make sure. Okay. They may not be ready to do it. They had another gig to do it. This happens to my show a lot, doesn't it? I have some great guests. I get them on eventually, but that's okay. That's okay. Mancini's coming in a little bit. I'm going to roll through it. But there you go. Baseball. Love you. All right. Let's get out of baseball now. We did a good job of that, I thought. And let's roll into football, NFL, because I'm going to hold on to all the Barkley comments, the racist stuff, and things like that in a little bit. Paid offenses, NFL paid offenses. Look at this category for the NFL. Look at this. The top 5 teams paying for their offenses. Okay, those are your top 5 teams around the NFL who put all their money in. I thought the Cardinals should be up there. I thought the Cardinals paid a lot more. I mean, Kyler Murray's contract, and Deshaun Watson, Cleveland should be there, right? And they are. Cleveland is there. But I'm surprised the Cardinals are not in there. But we'll see how that plays out. Maybe because the J.J. Watt's contract is out. Who knows? But he's defense, not offense. So it doesn't make sense what I just said. Bottom 5, there are, the Steelers and the Dolphins and the Panthers and the Broncos and the Ravens. They all have not been able to take care of their offense yet. But I will say that's coming. It's coming really, really soon. But when you put a lot of money into your defense, set that up, then you put money back into your offense. So we'll see how this all changes in the offseason. You would think these teams are going to start focusing on the other side. And I hope in Arizona that they start looking at their defense more, and the offensive line. All right. So I like that. I like seeing that because it speaks volumes, and people don't realize that. Teams are focusing. Like, what are the Cardinals what are teams doing when getting a new coach? They're going to, is the new Cardinal coach going to just focus on defense because he wants players for him and his system so he can shine real quick and say, all right, I'm a defensive guy. I'm going to bring in players that I need for my system and plug them in. Right? And that's what you expect. Build to your strength and then start working on the other stuff. And we're going to have to wait and anticipate this in the offseason, what happens to all these teams with new coaches, right? The merry-go-round of that. Interesting stuff. All right. More NFL things. Okay. Look, this is something that a lot of people are not so understanding what cognitive thinking is. And it's visualization also that a lot of athletes go through. A lot. And that is Russell Wilson on the left. And that's Trevor Moawad on the right. Trevor Moawad has been a very famous, known I would say therapist, the mental part of, athletics, sports, or just anybody in general, in getting yourself focused. Trevor has been with Russell Wilson forever in Seattle, right? And Trevor passed away before Russell played for the Denver Broncos, right before that happened. And you say, oh, how does that? Well, a lot, because that's your mentor in a lot of ways. That's somebody that you had a relationship with and who knew you so well how to connect with you and work with you. And maybe Russell Wilson struggled because without his partner there, this relates to athletes who have relationships with women, who have marriages that break up, and emotionally they're off because their daily life is off. Their routines are off. Everything is off. And Russell Wilson, I'm going to give him a break because I believe in this stuff. All right. So and this guy, Trevor Moawad, is a big time about the cognitive thinking for professional athletes. And he works strictly, with Russell Wilson. It was like, he was everywhere Wilson went. This guy was there. Every game, every practice. That was it. Everybody gets trainers and things like that. So, I'm going to wait to see how this plays out, but Russell Wilson has to figure it out now without his main guy. This just speaks volumes. Like, look what's happening to Tiger Woods now. Tiger cleared out his past issues, his injuries, the car accidents, everything else, and he was off his game. His body's break. Everything shifted. Got his game back, won the Masters, right? Things were going along better for him in his, I guess, sort of twilight of his great prime of his career. And then today or yesterday, it's being reported that his ex-girlfriend is suing him for $30 million. Now, I don't know if this is going to rattle him, but nobody wants to go through that. But this is the thing. It's like routines. Tiger was doing well. He was in a routine. He was comfortable. He had a happiness with his son. It was like everything was flowing. We'll see what happens with Tiger this next, part of the PGA Tour itself. Okay. A lot of athletes go through this when their cycle is broke, right? A lot of athletes do very well when they have a good woman in their corner, right? Somebody that is right behind them. It gives them balance, stability, consistency, right? So when Russell Wilson loses his mental mentor, the cognitive thinker for him and getting him his mind frame set, right? And it's gone. He lost his life and he's gone. And so I'm a believer in that. And I think most people should start looking into that. Routines are good. You prosper better when you're on a routine. Make sure it's a good routine. Okay. Like there's some things that people do. They're not a good routines. You got to recognize the good and the bad and the ugly and the beautiful. Okay. But I'm looking forward to seeing how Russell can come out of this. And if he can mature out of it, maybe he gets another cognitive thinker to help him out. And there's no joking matter. Like he's being babied. This is what athletes do. They get paid big money to play at a high level. And I like it. All right. So NFC West. On the NFC South, we know about this story right here. Okay. Derek Carr. He's a saint. I love Derek Carr. I just love him I think he's a great leader. From what we watched and being around the Raiders a little bit and at the practices and just watching him talk, he's going to do wonders in New Orleans, okay? And New Orleans needed a quarterback. Jameis Winston, you had your job, but you just can't stay healthy, and they're probably going to release him or something's going to happen there, okay? But what this does in the NFC South, when Tom Brady is gone, there's no real standout quarterback. The New Orleans Saints are, again, a front runner to win the NFC South, okay? These teams, who's quarterbacking Atlanta? Who's quarterbacking Tampa? We know who's going to step up at this point. The Panthers too, and whoever it is it better than Derek Carr? And Derek's got some weapons there. And New Orleans, not a great year, but they struggled. So the quarterback is now solidified. You got to say that Saints are in charge of that division until proven differently. And they got to be the favorite to win the NFC South. They're back. The Saints. The Saints were bad for decades, and they turned it around, and they're aggressive, and good for the Saints in New Orleans, right? In New Orleans itself. All right. Money talks, right? Tom Brady, is he really coming out of retirement? Is he really coming out of retirement? No. But everybody wants to push him towards San Francisco or Miami, right? Everybody's like, and that I'd be surprised if Tom comes back. I think his family, his kids, living in Miami could work because his family is there. The ex-wife's there. Maybe that's what he wants. But he was in Tampa. It wasn't like too far from Miami. But what I'm getting to is, does this guy really want to come back? Is his head straight? Does he feel his head can get straight in Miami? Close to family, close to his kids. But he made a joke, and he did say he is not unretiring. He put that out there already. It's been mentioned. It's been quoted. And let's leave it like that. Let's leave this alone. Let Tom Brady figure it out. And if he comes back, it is what it is. It's not my game. It's not my life, right? And I'm not going to sit there and say, what are you doing, right? Who knows? But San Francisco is appealing for Tom Brady because he's a big guy. He was a Montana fan, a Joe Montana fan, and the Niner fan. And to put on that uniform for one season as the Niners are looking around for quarterbacks. Garoppolo is supposed to be gone. And you have the other guy, Purdy. And is Purdy the guy? He's hurt. He's hurting, right? His surgery hasn't gone well. They having problems. The swelling, has not gone down. They had scheduled the surgery again to do it officially. And we're in March. That just pushes up everything. So the Niners are desperate. Are they going to throw big money at Tom Brady and just try to hold fort? Or is Tom saying, I'm done? But it's appealing. Miami's appealing because of his family, and San Francisco because of his love for the Niners as a child. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. with that. I doubt he goes back to New England. But Tom Brady, we'll see. All right. Geno. How crazy is this, folks? Geno Smith gets paid. 3-year deal. Look at that money, man. Okay. That is big time stuff, folks. That's over 30. What is that? 35 mil a year or something like that? Close to. I don't know. I'm not going to. It's good. This guy was backup to backups, right? This guy was almost out of the league and gets rejuvenated in Seattle and is here to stay in that system. And I expect him to continue what he did last year. I'd be shocked because it looks like he really matured and went to the next level. And it took years for this guy to get there, but he got paid. He got his contract and he earned it. And I'm happy for him because I'm not a big Geno fan, but he never gave up, and he matured. And this is a guy who also was immature. When he came and drafted by the New York Jets out of West Virginia, this guy had issues. And the Jets tried, and the Jets are still trying to find a replacement of Joe Namath or Richard Todd, all right? Or somebody like that, right? Kenny O'Brien, right? I'm trying to think of more guys. Hey, Vinny Testaverde got him to a AFC championship game. Hey, so does Sanchez, right? So does Sanchez in the recent years. But what I'm getting to is Geno was supposed to be the guy for New York and it never panned out. It was trouble. He had issues. He had emotional issues, and it flamed out. And he never was the same quarterback what they were hoping to be. This is a nice journey, and the guy gets paid, and I'm happy for him in that aspect. And he gets 3 years. And then who knows what happens in there. But if you're Kyler Murray, and you go talk to this guy. Go talk to a Geno Smith, because Geno had the same issues. Immature, wasn't a good leader on the field or in the locker room. He just thought he was everything as a football player, but it just wasn't clicking on the other aspects as a leader, as a quarterback in the NFL, and in your locker room and with your teammates. Go talk to him. You got to reach out to these ball players who are fortunate enough to find their way back or maintain a status in the NFL and grow. But this guy, not only that he came back, but he was an all-pro. He playoff stuff, right? This guy was an amazing story, Geno Smith. But he overcame a lot. He overcame so much. All right. Let's keep moving along here. I got the Daniel Jones story itself. Daniel Jones, 4 years, $160 million. People complaining this guy's getting paid $45 million. But look at around the NFL. This is what quarterbacks are getting paid. And Daniel Jones had a great season, his best. He finally arrived. Got a system that fits him now with a new coach. This is special stuff for Daniel Jones. All right. So with that being said, I'm going to get a note here. All right. So with that being said, with Daniel Jones, I care. Why do you care about Daniel Jones and his big contract? I think the Giants did a great move. It's hard to find a quarterback in the NFL. And with that being said, Mark Mancini's jumping in. Hey, Mark, not only Daniel Jones, Geno Smith, Derek Carr, solidifying positions in the NFL, and Tom Brady's name being thrown out there, which I'd be surprised. But welcome into the show, Mancini.
Well, I'll tell you, it's the show that's sweeping. It's a throwdown on Thursday. It's a duel in the desert. And we're going to miss Kelsey Nicole Nelson tonight, huh?
Yes, she got caught up in some transition stuff. They were at a different job, and it just didn't click for her. But we'll get her on. She's like feels so bad, and she's like texting me here, like
great lady,
as I'm talking to everybody.
All
right, so Daniel Jones getting paid, right? $45 million. You had to do it. Like, who else are you going to bring in, right?
You had to do it. There's no question you had to not to do it. I mean, look at it. The guy had a great year. It's guaranteed money for 2 years. If it doesn't work out after 1 year, you eat the contract for a year. Then the Giants can go draft another Manning kid or whatever. But I mean, I why wouldn't you give him the money? I think I like Daniel Jones better than I do Deshaun Watson, and you gave that guy the masseur, I call him, $230 million guaranteed.
I hear you. I hear you,
That's
Mark.
why Lamar Jackson doesn't want to play. He wants to be the highest paid. Why not? You're going to give him? Give it to Lamar Jackson.
All right. So, Mark, let's dabble into that a little bit, okay? Since you brought people are bringing up conspiracy stuff all over the place. This is J.J. Watt, who says, why are all these teams so publicly out on Lamar Jackson? You know, they're hard on Lamar. MVP winner is prime at the most, important position in the NFL. You know, he's like, what am I missing here? Well, JJ, let me tell you something. The guy gets injured, and you're going to put a dump him. This guy has not finished the season, like 3 years in a row now, and because of injuries, and it's catching up to him. And you're going to pay. Yes, he had a great year. So did Cam Newton. What happened to Cam Newton? Great couple of great years.
Let me tell you something. If you don't want to pay him in Baltimore, the best position for him to go to would be Tampa. That system would fit him perfect. He wouldn't have to use his legs.
It wouldn't surprise me if Tampa made a pitch for him, or Miami. He's a Florida guy.
They're going old school in Tampa. They're going to run the ball down your throat type of mentality.
Well, whatever happens there, but he's a Florida guy, and so going home like that would fit him well. But they're going to have to, they can match it, Baltimore. But, Baltimore, I think Baltimore has been a very smart organization when it comes to this stuff. Yeah. So just when you think, they're done, they're out, right? They just they know how to, waiting in the wings is Garoppolo, right? There's still some things out there that Baltimore can throw. Do they want to go after Aaron Rodgers? I mean, like, what I'm trying to get to is they got a plan B. And that's why they dangle him out there as it's not a what do you call it? Contract. He's not a franchise tag talk where you can't touch him. Teams can talk to him, right? This is a little different. Teams can talk to him, but if they try to sign him, the Ravens can match it. And the Ravens may say, you know what? We're okay. Right. We can go get a Garoppolo. We can trade for this guy, right? Or maybe they match it and trade him. Right? The Ravens got a plan. There's no doubt they got a plan. There's no doubt. And they're already trying to cut corners. And they want to trade for DeAndre Hopkins with the Cardinals, right? And if that's the case, that's more money on their record.
Well, I will tell you this. Garoppolo, I don't think goes to Baltimore. I think his next destination is Washington. I tell you right now, watch out for the Skins, man. The Skins got the enemy. They're loading up in Washington now, and I'm telling you, this NFC is wide open. Wide open across the airwaves.
Why not this guy? Why can't Lamar be in Washington? I mean, the owner doesn't mind paying money, right? He wants to win, right? I mean, Lamar could be great there. They will love him in Washington, D.C.
Well, they haven't had a good quarterback in Washington since Kirk Cousins, but I will tell you this. You talk about guys being called out. Kyler Murray's being called out in your neck of the woods.
Yeah, we just went over that one. It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing, Mark, that a teammate tells him you need to grow up. And then Marquise Brown speaks up and says, defends his quarterback. And here we go again in Arizona, another offseason of turmoil, and and Kyler's sitting there hearing all this again.
Wow, it reminds me of the movie. You know what it reminds me of? The movie The Hills Have Eyes.
It's going to be a tough year for Cardinal fans. Murray's not even going to play he might even play this season. We don't even know when he's going to be able to get back. There is a quarterback that is really getting a lot of publicity. Is Aaron Rodgers. And the Jets, the New York Jets flew out to California. Yeah. The owner, John, he flew out, Woody. He flew out. They all went to go see him meet with Aaron Rodgers, and they came out feeling great.
Yeah.
And
man.
Sounds like the Jets and Aaron have a nice connection, and Aaron is thinking about, and you got to remember too, Aaron Rodgers, offensive coordinator in New York, is the same guy that he had in Green Bay.
Yeah.
Okay. So the system's going to be the same. Aaron knows it. It's an easy fit. It's an easy win-win. And I think it's a beautiful thing if the Jets can pull it off. And if you're New York Jets, you go get Aaron Rodgers. You go get it. And mentor that.
Come on, man. They haven't had a quarterback in New York since Richard Todd.
I actually went over that. I backchecked. Sanchez, Testaverde got him. Both of them got him AFC.
Chad Pennington.
Chad Pennington, I liked him, but he got injured and stuff. And then Kenny O'Brien, but Dan Marino.
Let me tell you, if anybody can take over New York, and he really doesn't care what anybody thinks. He's got ice in the veins. He was dating people in Green Bay. Imagine the power couples mirage he'll have in New York, man. Move over J-Lo and Ben.
He will not have a problem with New York media.
Yeah, Zach Wilson might learn something.
And that's the other thing. Mentor the young guy, sit behind him, learn the system, teach him, tutor him, and then a couple of years, Aaron says, you know what, dude, I'm ready to retire, and if he wins a Super Bowl again in New York, he's a legend.
Oh, yeah.
He's bigger legend in New York than he would be in Green Bay. That's how big. Aaron, I don't think he may not care, Aaron, but that's a fact. He'll be a legend if you brought a Super Bowl championship.
When was the last time the Jets won the Super Bowl, man? 67?
It was 1969, January.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. It was the Namath, calling it called it out. All right, Mark, I'm going to throw this on the screen. This is going to get sensitive to some people. Maybe not, but I haven't looked at the fans' comments so far.
And Sean Kemp?
We got into, not yet, but we're going NBA. We don't do a lot of it. Okay. Oh, wrong one. I did that one. Barkley, Charles Barkley goes off on Kendrick Perkins, calling him that he is suffering from ESPN disease. Right. And the reason being is Kendrick Perkins made a comment that NBA MVPs have been all, basically, how is a white dude winning the MVP? There's been 3 in the last 2 decades. Okay. Can you name them? We got one in Dallas, the former legend in Dallas.
Larry Bird?
No, 20 years, because Bird was prior to that. Okay.
So we got Dirk Nowitzki, right?
Yeah, you got him. Okay.
Dirk Nowitzki's one. The other one would be.
One was recent.
James Stockton or Stockton.
No, that was pre 2 decades.
Okay, so we don't got Stockton in the mix.
Somebody from recent, very recent, like maybe I can't give it. Oh, a year, maybe. Okay.
No, don't give it. So it's going to be Jokic.
Yep, you got that, and now there's one more.
So the other one would have. So we got Jokic, Nowitzki, and we have.
I'll give you a hint. He was coaching in the NBA this season, and he got fired. Or, yeah,
it wasn't.
He's from Canada.
Nash.
Steve Nash.
Yeah.
I mean, it's trivia stuff when you're talking like 3 white dudes winning MVP in the NBA. But Kendrick Perkins trashed it. Like, how does a white dude win? I think so. Charles Barkley blasts him. And these are the comments that Barkley puts out there. I'm going to try to read it to you, too. It's interesting stuff. He says, wait a minute. You're going to make. Oh, wait. I'm going to back off on that. That's another comment. But he blasted Kendrick Perkins about this. And I think Charles is absolutely right. You can't have it both ways. You can't have it one way when you're talking. And I hate this racism stuff, and I hate all this stuff. Yeah. Why even bring it up? And why does Kendrick have to bring it up? And was he actually trying to imply anything racial there? But people took it that way. And Charles Barkley says, you dance in the wrong room, dude. You don't talk about that. Charles has been hot lately on topics, and he's been right on. And Charles has been, I like listening to him. I really do. I think he's raw. He's to the point.
I've interviewed him years back, and he speaks his mind. And you know what? I don't have a problem with a guy speaking his mind, because it's called freedom of speech. Right. And you got that right. Now, you might not agree with him, and that's all well and dandy, but you can run that thing up the flagpole, and that's his thought. So, I don't know. The problem with the NBA, it's just gotten too political. It's hard to watch. We were talking to a guy on the XM show last week, and I love my Milwaukee Bucks, sitting there and watching a whole game, them beating up on the Orlando Magic. I can't do it, man. I'm sorry. It's just, I mean, I can't do it. And it's just, there's no defense being played. I mean, in the NBA these days, there's no role models. Got John Morant acting like Allen Iverson. Come on, man.
Charles Barkley made another comment about the NBA players, and I'm going to read it to you. I kind of put it on the screen a little too early, but he says, wait a minute. You're going to make $70 million, and you can't play basketball like 3 out of 4 days in a week. They fly private planes. They fly private, right? They got the best medical staff ever created. People working in steel mills every day. I'm pretty sure they would, like they don't take days off. People working in heavy labor work are not taking days off, and you're making $70 million, and you can't push your body. You can't be an athlete, right? And you're going to try to take days off, and
I told you before.
It's soft. NBA is soft.
I mean, hey, I said this, and I don't mince it. You know me. You've known me a lot of years, my brother, and I don't mince him. I mean, Kevin Durant, to me, is not even in my top 50 all-time greatest basketball player. I'm sorry. I don't have him. I don't have Kyrie Irving. Top 50 all-time, no way in hell. I just don't, That's the way I look at it, and, they can come back and argue that one, but no way can this guy carry Dr. J's jockstrap, Larry Bird's Magics. We got a clown out here, Bill Plaschke's telling everybody that LeBron James is the best Laker ever. Really?
That's embarrassing. Did he really say that? He didn't say that.
How long have you been watching basketball? Are you trying to sell tickets? You're telling me Wilt Chamberlain, Jerry West, Magic Johnson, Elgin Baylor. Come on, man.
That's pretty bad. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Come on. Yeah. Like, enough said. Drop the mic and walk off.
Yeah.
All right. Jay Morant.
You got to do the John Cena thing. Shake your hand. You can't see this.
We'll come back to the WWE in a minute. I did a little story on earlier in the show. All right. This guy, there he is, on the brink of blowing his career, right? Is Morant basically destroying his career in front of our eyes, or can he figure it out?
Allen Iverson, man. I'm surprised he doesn't have the white, Rolls Royce and telling everybody he doesn't have to practice.
He is. I was surprised, but then again, it's the NBA, and the NBA has been down this road a lot too, with some issues off the court. And Morant obviously is not going to see the NBA court for a while. This guy was like making everybody feel like this Michael Jordan-ish kind of, where he was leading his team in playoffs and, runs and things like that. And this comes up, and you got to be more, you just got to grow up, right? And carrying guns and flashing it around on social media, live streaming. Like, this is ridiculous. Sean Kemp did it, but he's retired. I don't know that full story. I didn't want to touch on it because, the incident happened, and there was another incident with Joe Mixon in the NFL, Seattle Cincinnati Bengals, but it wasn't him. There was gunshots. There's a lot of gunshot stories. Okay, and but Carmelo Anthony had an issue also with guns and early in his career. And he kind of went through this Allen Iverson stuff, and also with this, what's going on with Morant. But he also said this when he met with David Stern, the late David Stern, the commissioner of the NBA back then, who gave him the ultimate "get it together" speech. Okay, this is a great one. I got to take off the my sponsors at the bottom of the page, the screen there. Okay, for you to read this. Okay, the legend. Okay. The NBA, they calling Carmelo the NBA legend. He's great, but I don't know, a legend. Whatever. Meeting in an interview with Anscape. This is publishing company, saying this. This is Carmelo Anthony with David Stern. I go and speak to him and say, "Why you do me like that?" This is David Stern. David Stern says, "Why do you do me like that? Do you want me to be in the streets, or do you want to be in the NBA? You're fucking with a corporation now." This is what he said. You're effing with the corporation now. Think about that. I know you. I know who you with. I know where you live. I know. Think about. So Carmelo said, this is like a government. Like Like they got spies, they got cameras, they got satellite stuff. They follow you. They know where you're walking. They know everything. And he basically either intimidated Carmelo and said, "Shape up. You know, we're watching you. We're always watching." Or was this real? Like for real? Like does the NBA, the NFL, does sports or all over the world, do they literally monitor their players that close? Because I don't know how they get away or why they're. I mean, if they really cared that much, but David Stern did not want to ruin the corporation itself, the NBA. And he flat out told him, "You're effing with a corporation now." And that's what Morant just did. He effed it up. And now the NBA has to deal with this. And it's a black, dark, scar or shadow that continues to follow this, the league. Let me get off this screen with this right here. Okay. So your comments about the NBA, that's a David Stern comment from many years back. But at the same time, you're damaging the image of this league that is trying to, clean it up, and doing what it can, but players are just screwing it up. And, when you get into politics over the years that we've seen and you got now this gun issue, like that's not good. Plaxico Burress got involved. Plaxico did. Said, "Dude, I've been there. I had I dealt with this stuff. You got to figure this out." You remember Plaxico, gun in his pocket, went off, shot his leg
in New York.
In New York, right? So, your thoughts on the NBA and the image of this?
You know what? I think what's happening today, and we've talked about it, is accountability, communication, character, and integrity are completely lost words in today's society. Right. A lot. You use those 4 words, and people look at you like you came from outer space or something. And this is the problem: when nobody's held accountable for their actions, this is what you get. And,
you're right, Mark.
And I look at these guys, and I'm saying to myself, if I'm an owner, I'm not picking up this kind of stuff. I don't care how much talent you have. I'm looking at character. And I'll lose, 20 games, 30 games, 40 games a year. That's okay, but I'm not going to have a piss product on my court. That's all there is to it. I'm just not. I'm not going to put up with it because, my dad always used to say, "Son, nobody really cares what you know till they know how much you care." And if you don't care about the people that are coming in there and paying, to see the players that you put on the court in your city and represent that, then it's time they move these guys out. That's all. Just move them out. And so that's now, the way I look at it. I mean,
Mark, trash talking with fans will never stop. And NBA, the players are so close to the fans itself. I mean, you're inbounding a pass from out of bounds, and the fans' feet are right by you. You hear everything. I had that experience with Isaiah Thomas. I've told the story a few times, and it's real. I was like 6 rows back. And I forget what I said to Isaiah Thomas. It was in Madison Square Garden. It was a Christmas Day game, and Isaiah, I remember turning around and looking in my direction, and everybody saw it. Isaiah he inbounds the pass. They give it back to him as the point guard, and he just takes it the length of the court, right? Comes down, and he's looking for me with his eyes. He's scaring. Yeah. It was literally, I was that dude. I didn't say anything bad. I wasn't using F-bombs and I nothing harsh. But I forget what I said that got under his skin. And I'll never forget that. It happened to me twice.
That reminded me of the time I was in Dodger Stadium, before I got into all this. And Juan Pierre came in, was in center field. I think he was with the Marlins back then. And we were doing the AAA chant with him. "Hello, Pierre."
I remember I think it was 81. Young guy, Yankee Stadium, Brewers, Yankees, something like that. It was playoff time. And I was about 4 rows with my good friend Jeff Sloan behind the Yankee dugout. And Reggie Jackson, somebody threw something from the upper, I don't know. And
they threw a Reggie bar. Remember the Reggie bar?
I used to eat that all the time. I love that Reggie bar. Oh my God, it was pretty good. Anyway, Reggie steps out of the dugout because he got pissed at whoever threw something at him. And he looks right at me like I did it. And he's pointing at me, pissed off. And everybody's looking at me. I didn't do it. I love you, Reggie. I'm like, I love, like, no, 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 no. But it was could be very intimidating, especially coming from that, and I also remember a time where, oh gosh, my mind's slipping on it. I had 3 incidents actually. One of them I actually initiated with the Isaiah Thomas thing, but it's real. They hear you. There's no doubt they can hear. Oh, Kevin Brown, pitcher, Padres.
Yeah, Marlins.
1998 World Series, Game 1 of the World Series, Yankees, Padres. In the Marlins, right? And he was warming up in the outfield, the long toss.
Yeah,
Game 1. The stadium was rocking loud, and I was yelling some stuff, Mark. I was yelling. I wasn't the only Yankee fan doing it, but I was yelling. My seats were like box seats by the foul post. I had a great view, and he didn't have a good outing in Game 1. He got rocked,
Yeah.
And in Sports Illustrated, he was quoted as saying that the fans got to him during warmups. And I know I was one of those dudes. So that's why fans engage. They're also trying to get you off your game too. Like it's, players. But getting back to what I wanted to show you is this. This is a newly LA Clipper, Westbrook, having it out with a fan in Sacramento, right? And like a day before or something like that, Kevin Durant in Dallas had an issue with a fan calling him out. Are NBA players too sensitive? Because, NFL players hear stuff. They hear it from the front row easily. They're that close. They definitely hear it. Okay, baseball fans hear it because it's not that loud, but you can definitely hear some of the screeches coming from the outfield or whatever. Fans will say things, but why are NBA players so sensitive? I don't have the answer, but it just seems like the game is soft. They're not tough.
Yeah, I remember, Westbrook had the problem in Utah when he was with Oklahoma City, I think it was.
Right.
And that fan got banned. And then LeBron's had a couple of them in Indiana the last 2 go-rounds.
Who?
Durant. I don't understand it. Well, it might be sensitivity. Hey, I was a ring announcer for the Wrestling Federation, XPW. I didn't care. They threw full, beers in there. I said, next time you throw one, make sure it's full. So I didn't really care. We had, the band Corn there. I'd get up on the top ropes and say, who the hell names their band a can of corn, you dumb son of a gun? So I don't know. I kind of embrace it, but some of these guys, they're, it's extra sensitive. I just don't understand it.
I hope they don't. Well, you don't want to brawl with the fans like they did in Detroit, and there was some really ugly scenes and things like that. But when I see this happening, trash talking itself, quickly I think of is the fans. Calm down, don't get too, I would say, hey, Westbrook,
well, that's the other night I was covering the UCLA Arizona game, and I got a shot with a nice cheerleader, and boy, you thought I robbed a liquor store or something. That flack I caught. I said, come on, dudes, I'm 61, I'm not a prune.
I have plenty of photographs with with cheerleaders over the years. Plenty. My best cheerleader story is I was in Miami working. I was covering the Dolphins. It was Dolphins and Raiders. It was Dan Marino years, and the Raiders were a hot team too back then. And Jim Jensen, I don't know if you remember him. He was like a backup quarterback, backup running back, and special teams dude, and tight end. Like he did everything. I'm standing on the sidelines during warmups in the Orange Bowl, and he jogs over and he gets on a knee and he's proposing to one of the Dolphin cheerleaders.
Wow.
And so, cheerleaders are part of sports itself, but what your photograph, I didn't have a problem with it. It was just, it's not a problem with it.
Just,
but,
kind of, closing the gap, being a UCLA fan. Wow,
but,
what a game, man. What a game against Arizona. And boy, it's going to be interesting. UCLA hanging there. It's going to be interesting to see how far they can go.
Well, I'm watching my Sun Devils here. They're starting right now against USC, and they got 21 wins, Arizona State. that's a lot of wins, but they're going to have to.
I think you'll get both Arizona schools and USC and UCLA in the mix.
They still have ASU on the bubble, so they got to beat USC, and then maybe I think they start getting really considered heavily to get past two wins in the tournament itself and have 22 wins. That's 22 wins in the college basketball. That's a really good season. Yeah. And you beat some good teams, right? If you beat USC, you beat Arizona itself, right? You had a couple of big wins early in the year. I'm hoping Bobby Hurley can find a win tonight and make it interesting. And there'll be a lot of Pac-12 teams in the tournament.
Bobby Hurley, former Duke.
Yeah. We love Bobby here in Arizona. Yeah. Arizona State. Anyway, all right. I got more stuff from the NBA. Okay. This bothered me. Again, this is another shot at the NBA, and it's just amazing. So Giannis has a chance for a triple-double the other night. Okay. And seconds are ticking down. And they throw him a long pass. Instead of just milking the clock and running it out, he throws the ball up like a shot, or just like you can see the photograph right there. He pushes it and he catches it, and they credited him for a rebound, which gives him the triple-double. Like the guy knew it too, by doing that. That's tacky. That's pretty tacky. Like that's not even that. Where is the sportsmanship, right?
Yeah.
So and then this speaks volumes of how great you are. You still got this selfish, very selfish stuff, and the NBA continues to show itself with this caliber of players, and their star players are doing this, right? It's embarrassing. When I saw that, I was like, you kidding me? Are you kidding me? All right. So your thoughts on that, Mark?
Well, it's, I don't want to call it a self-centered league, but, it's might be a me, myself, and I league. I mean, I don't know. It's changed. I mean, I grew up with Bird and Magic and all those guys, the bad boys, the Pistons, and now we're watching this. I mean, it's like I said earlier in this conversation, it's hard to watch this sport, man. It's unbelievable. And the people that say, well, I don't know what you're watching, Mancini. Well, I don't know. I'm watching the same thing you're watching. Maybe you need to take off your shades. See it much clearer. Get your eyes checked. Maybe you need some contacts. I don't know.
Mark, I think Jeannie Buss needs to take off her shades. How the heck does Gasol get his jersey retired in that arena? I know he had a great run. He played with some great players, but does he really belong in the Raptors with his jersey retired? An emotional ceremony, this is called. The Lakers retired Paul Gasol's jersey. When I saw that, Mar, I went, he does not belong with those names up there.
Well, I will tell you this. I think Paul Gasol's best years, and I know he won 2 titles with the Lakers. Yeah. I think his best years were with Memphis. He was great dominating in Memphis.
Yes. And he was a big part of their championship run. But then Michael Cooper needs to be up there. Byron Scott needs to be up there. There's Jeannie. What the heck did you just do? That's a precious thing that you do when you retire legends.
Worthy.
Is he up there? He's not up there?
I don't know. I don't know if he's up there.
I'd be surprised if he's not. He's clearly, if he's not, that's a joke.
Yeah, if he isn't, he's better than Pau Gasol.
Somebody look it up and tell me. Just look up Lakers retired. But that's precious stuff. You got a long history, titles, and that's crazy. Gasol was a good player.
Up there with the Phoenix Suns. What a joke this is, man.
If he wins a title in Phoenix, and brings it,
my God!
Then they will do something with it's gonna
This organization is cursed, man. What is going on with it? Let me tell you, the guys they gave up, man, to get him in. Man, be careful for what you wish for.
Hey, it's not dead. It's only 2 to 3 weeks minimum, or that's what they're calling it. And then they get ready for the playoffs, and that's all that matters. It's just winning. That's all the Suns fans. They don't care. They just want to win finally, and that's so. But it sucks.
I think you got a better chance of bringing back that 76 team with Alvin Adams and all those guys.
Oh.
It took the Celtics to triple overtime in one of those games.
Yeah, there's the unfortunate
Wow.
A freak accident, man. It's like, how fragile is this guy? And, there's this a lingering little nagging injury, or is he
I'm
fully
not going to
healed?
call him. You know what? I'm sorry. I'm not going to call him Kevin Durant. I might start calling him Greg Oden, Bill
Oh, boy.
Walton.
No, he's
I
not
might
that
use,
bad.
I
No, he's
might
not
use
that
these
bad.
names.
No, he's not that bad. He's not that bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, Kevin Booker clearly was benefiting from all the Durant, on the floor stuff. They really played well together. So I'm not worried about when he comes back if the chemistry is there or not, because it quickly was immediate when they got on the court and they know each other well. So, and Durant can play with anybody. Durant can play with anybody, any position. So he's very versatile that way. If he's healthy, the Suns are going to be fine, and they'll pull. They'll go long in the playoffs. But it sucks because we wanted to watch. We wanted to watch this. I wanted to see. Dallas is spreading out the rumors, and the talk about how they can play the Suns, but they still lost last weekend. But how they don't worry, they're still going to double team their best players on Phoenix, and they're not going to worry about that fifth guy, that sixth guy. Like, we'll leave you open. And that's the strategy that Dallas felt like it was winning for them to keep close to a really good Suns basketball team when it came to Dallas. But the Suns still won with all that. But I wanted to see all that, Mark. I wanted to see how other teams can match up, and how it played out,
Wow. Sounds like you know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of a big birthday party and everybody got together and wear their shades and everything. And all of a sudden, dark cloud came over and dumped water all over the joint.
All right, so
fans.
Mark, we got a few more minutes with the show itself. WWE announced that they're trying to get themselves legalized betting on their so-called sport. Okay.
Acknowledge him.
They're targeting Michigan, Colorado, and Indiana. My problem, Mark, is they know the outcome. And somebody's going to make a lot of freaking money knowing the outcome. And it may not be the big dogs walking up to the window in a casino, whatever it is, and making the bet. But, I remember with Pete Rose in Vegas.
Yeah, is Pete Rose sponsoring this?
I do know this. Pete Rose, because I worked with him in Vegas when we had a studio in the MGM Grand Sportsbook, would give money to a runner, like a guy, and the guy made bets for Pete Rose. Okay.
Yeah.
And so somebody at the WWE is going to make bets for, the top dogs, executives, the wrestlers. Like, they all know. All they got to do is pick a phone and go, all right, go to my account. Boom, boom. Like, all right, go into my betting account and drop 10 mil. I'm winning this fight tonight. Like, it's planned. Mark, how do you allow that shit?
I smell Don King also. Yeah.
Don King, I'm sure he's fixed the fight here.
The heavyweight boxing.
He had Tyson for a while there. And that was pretty much when Tyson's era ended. He ended. It was done. It was over. I think Tyson fired him, right? He separated himself after Tyson realized he was being taken. I got a story about Don King. A good friend of mine, I haven't talked to him. It kind of brings me down. I haven't talked to him in a while, but he was all part of Tyson's. I need to find out.
Yeah.
I need to find out.
That's important.
He was part of Team Tyson and all that stuff. And he was the last remaining guy from the Customato years. Okay.
Yeah.
And, when Tyson was trained as a young guy and became this like stud champion. Right. And then it changed. Mike changed. Don King got involved, and Don King wanted, I'm not going to mention his name because I've always promised him not to throw him in, but I can talk about it. But would intimidate him and says, "You're not going to be here long. I can't wait to get rid of your ass." Things like that. Yeah. And Mike said to him, "You're never going anywhere. I need you with me." They kind of like grew up in the Catskills together a little bit. Mike was younger, but it was part of that whole thing. And Mike one day told my friend, they got into it. I'm trying to not mention his name. I'm sorry. Yeah. Told Mike, "You got to stop. you're not fighting right. You're not training right. You're training late. Like all the things that Mike turned to him and got pissed off and in a rage and said, "You're fired. Get out of here." Right? To his good friend. Okay. Then Don King looks at him, my friend, and says, your ass is finally out of here. I'm so happy. And the guy is a nice guy. Don King did not want anybody from the past. He wanted full control and manipulation over this guy. And Jay was in Mike's ear still. And Don King hated it. Right?
Yeah.
24 hours later, my good friend is back because Mike could not get rid of him because Mike realized what he did. Mike realized that was part, but that's Don King, and and he has bad breath. I could not interview this guy.
Yeah,
but he made his millions only in America, and the reason why he said that because he knew how to make it happen.
Yeah, you don't want to eat. You don't want to go to a seafood place and not brush your teeth and do a press conference.
Dude, man, it was hard.
Yeah,
I've had close-up talks to him. It was friggin' hard.
Wow.
I don't know. Maybe he's talking so much that his voice gets dried out.
Well, I know exactly how you feel because I thought, talking to him one time, man, this guy can kill a pack of skunks.
That's too funny. All right. I got to recap some things for you. We got about 10 more minutes before we shut it down, Mark. Okay. Let me see here. Let's see here. I talked about Tatis getting booed. Talked about Adrian Gonzalez talking about baseball is trying to be the World Cup, and they're never going to be the World Cup. But who cares? It's still baseball.
Yeah.
Here's a story I did not touch on. In hockey, the Bruins having a great year. And if they don't win the Stanley Cup, Mark, it's like the New England Patriots, right? Like it's the 2007
Undefeated
Patriots.
Season, yeah.
Right. A great dominating season, and you got nothing to show for it other than a great season. And the Boston Bruins having a great year. So in my eyes, and probably yours, is saying, it's either Stanley Cup or bust. I mean, like most teams, but this is you can't have a great year like that. But they're a good team. I don't know how they put it together because it's not like they made major changes from a year ago. They just playing a really good hockey, a great hockey all year long. Like they just don't lose.
Yeah, they were down tonight. I don't know if they won, but they were down.
Was it Tampa?
Edmonton.
Edmonton. Oh, McDavid. That's the tough competition. McDavid. How many? Yeah. Did the Penguins beat the Islanders? I know my Islanders were losing 3-1.
We had a 3-1 lead. You guys came back, took us to overtime, and beat us in overtime.
The Islanders beat you?
Yeah.
No, I turned it off. I'm going, I can't watch it.
They beat us 4-3 in overtime. It's kind of like the other night.
That's crazy.
Columbus had the Penguins down 4-0.
I watched that game. I watched that.
We came back and beat them, and now the Islanders did what the Columbus failed to do again. Yeah, unbelievable. So the Islanders head out west now. They're going to Anaheim and LA.
Shoot, I'm going to be in I'm going to be in Cali next week. I don't know if I may miss it. I wouldn't mind seeing them. They're playing They're playing great hockey. And
I think they're in playing the Kings next Thursday.
Oh, I'm going to be on the beach somewhere up near
next Thursday or next Tuesday. One of those days they're playing the Kings.
If it's Tuesday, I got a shot because I'll be in Cali somewhere on Monday, and then I'm going to be in Cambria, just north of somewhere north of like Morro Bay.
Up north. Yeah, a lot of rain coming too.
I saw it, but Thursday and Friday is sunny skies. So, but I wouldn't mind seeing a Kings Islander game. That'd be cool. Awesome. I'm an Islander fan, as you know, but I was watching it.
I think you're 1 point ahead of us, right? Or 2 points ahead of us?
2 points. The Islanders are in the wild card, 2 points ahead of the Penguins, and 5 points ahead of the team on the outside looking in is
Florida.
Florida. I don't know what they did tonight, if they even played. But, hockey's brewing up, man. I may go tomorrow night to see the Coyotes play. They're giving 50% off tickets. Coyotes.
Who are they playing?
Nashville.
Wow.
50% off tickets. I may have to go.
Let me tell you something. If they're going to bring, the women out of all these NHL cities.
Yeah.
I'd like to be going to a Nashville or Dallas game, man.
You're not going to watch hockey?
No, of course you're not watching hockey. I'm just saying Nashville or Dallas.
You're going to get the aisle seat with your leg out, making sure they have to stop. I know what's going on.
Yeah. I'd be afraid to go to a Winnipeg home game. I don't know what I'd be sitting next to. A polar bear?
Oh, hey, there's always nice. Hey, I'm going to NASCAR this weekend.
Oh, are you?
Yeah, here in Phoenix.
You're not going. I thought I was going to make it down there for the World Cup, but I got my granddaughter's birthday and all this, and I'm saying to myself, "Oh shoot!" So I'm going to have to get my rear down there sometime in. I know I'm doing the A's and Phillies in June in Oakland.
We got a great sports weekend. We got this major skateboards called SkateCon 8.
That. Columbia's playing the USA.
Columbia's playing USA. We got Suns playing hot. Spring training is going hot, right? Like and NASCAR. So there's a lot of things to do in Phoenix this weekend. If you're want to go to a live sporting event, and who knows with the Pac-12 if ASU is going to be surviving or the U of A. But I'm an ASU dude, so it could be. This is a fun time, good time of the year too. We talked about that, how this is a great time of the year for sports itself, and we'll just keep pushing along. So I want to go hockey tomorrow night.
Yeah,
I'm going to try to get out to that skate competition. It's like these big competition in Arizona.
And then you're going to miss
NASCAR
next Wednesday. I think it's USA and Columbia.
I can't make that one. I know. I'm bummed out. And then if I get to that,
what are the ticket prices for the public for those games?
Yeah. Hey, the Mexico USA game is sold out.
Wow.
I know that's going to be a raucous crowd. I don't know if the cartel is going to show up, man, but this is going to be crazy.
Man, yeah. Just don't be driving around with a pickup truck. Hide.
Oh no.
Yeah, you can. Hey, wow, that's
I got yelled. I got yelled at by the cartels one time. I don't know what the hell I did wrong.
I won't go down there. You couldn't get me to go down there if you gave me free rent.
I haven't gone down in a long time, and after what's going on lately, it's just a lot of people still go, and it's just it's sad. It's really sad.
I got a lot of friends that go down. They say it's nice over now. That's okay. You can give me 20 women, new houses and cars, and I still wouldn't get any part of that place.
You're supposed to stay at your resort and just stay there. Bring everything you can and just. But the problem is,
if I'm doing any foreign travel, I'm going to Canada.
I've done that.
Yeah,
I like Vancouver. It's still my favorite Canadian city.
But
I got everybody
to the Montreal side.
I want to go to Calgary. I want to go up to the rodeo in Calgary. What's the rodeo?
Calgary. Yeah, I knew a girl. I don't know. It's just too desolate, if you ask me. I like to go to Montreal. I hear the women outnumber the men 10-1.
Oh man!
Now we're gonna have all these women ripping our show, man.
Mark, what is there a men's day, like Women's Day? Like, do the guys get one? Like, or we just get Father's Day? Like, women get the Mother's Day. They get.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm back. I lost.
Yep. I'm here,
man.
Yeah, I can't explain.
We lost you for a split second there. All right. Yeah, I know. I was gonna post something like, "Hey, today is Men's Day." I'm gonna create it. I'm gonna create it. I'm gonna create Men's Day.
Yeah, Gentleman Club. Remember the Gentleman Club?
Mm-hmm.
The old
yeah. Well, the Gentleman Club has a new meaning these days.
Yeah.
All right, Mark, I got to go ahead.
We do ours. As we wrap this up, who could touch this show, man? I don't understand these shows that are out there. We're two good-looking guys doing a show on a Thursday night. I can listen to some of these other shows. I think it's on a caravan or a haystack somewhere in Montana.
Somebody came across and talked to me about that too, and says, there's no doubt. I mean,
it's coming this year, brother. There's no doubt. We're good.
Well, I know we can handle a larger platform. There's no doubt, and the guests will be big. I have more guests coming in.
We get the guests. We got a cachet, man. We haven't opened up our back of our pickup truck and emptied out the whole thing yet. So we got a cachet.
I have some big names lined up, and I'm waiting for like baseball season to start. I'm
Yeah.
just kind of stretching it out a little bit, but and then when the NFL draft hits, we're gonna pull in some more people and talk about that kind of stuff too. But where's the draft? Kansas City
I think
NFL draft?
so.
Yeah, it's
I think
Kansas City this
so.
year. Yeah, it's in
We got to
Kansas
bring,
City.
you know what we got to do is bring a good friend of mine in, Keith Thorney.
Oh,
Penn
yeah.
State, yeah, Penn State, Detroit Lion, man. Keith Thorney.
I wouldn't mind, and he still follows the NFL and all that
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah, he's got a lot
okay.
to say. He's a great guy.
Oh, okay. All right. If you
I
haven't
can't
heard
wait.
yet,
So next Thursday you're around.
yes, and I don't know how long Colin Murray's going to be around.
Yeah.
I just put that on the screen for you there. That's Kelvin Beachum right there, his tackle that called him out about growing up, but he backpedaled a little bit, but Arizona is talking a lot about that today, and it's old news to me again with Kyler stuff. To me, it's just I'm just going to wait until this guy gets back and watch.
Yeah.
Watch it how this plays out.
Yeah.
I mean, and then I'll have it.
Brother, I love you, man. I hate your Islanders, so we're gonna have a battle down the stretch.
My Islanders are going back to the conference finals at least. Right?
Acknowledge the black and gold. I'm gonna have to break out my Penguin beanie next week when I do this show with you.
I would say this: the Boston Bruins owned the Islanders this season, but now the Islanders have more offense. They got Horvat. They got in a big trade a guy. He's a 40-goal scorer, which Islanders never really had.
You know what?
Barzal hasn't played in about 2 weeks.
I totally understand what you're saying, but riddle me this: being from Pittsburgh, I thought the East Coast stopped after Pitt. Where the hell is New York? Is that somewhere in the Atlantic?
Come on, man. My Islanders were in the conference finals. I know 2 times in a row.
Yeah, Billy Smith, and I remember those guys. Mike Bossy in the game.
Oh, that was a total. Hey, I was a spoiled fan back then.
Yeah, Brian.
I was a spoiled. I had a lot of championships as a kid in many sports at that age. Woof, I was spoiled. Yeah, I was spoiled. I'm fortunate that I grew up in New York because it was a good run.
Oh, you knocked us out of the playoffs a couple of years ago, I think, and then the Rangers took us out last year. So maybe we could do something this year.
I don't like the Rangers, so Penguins can take them out anytime they want, or anybody can. It's to me, it's Islanders, and then I'll root for the Coyotes if they ever can get their act together. And it's kind of like the underdog Coyotes. Feeling, you kind of want to see them pull it off and blah blah blah. So, but anyway, Mark, I've been here for 2 hours talking, man. You're right. You're gonna give me that big
brother, man. I wouldn't leave you hanging. Too bad we didn't have the straw that stirs the drinking, Kelsey Nicole Nelson, but we'll get her in here pretty quick.
Yeah, I prepped her up, and she kept texting me, and she was not. Yeah, so she'll be fine. She's got many topics that she wanted to talk about too, and we'll just kind of reset a little bit and go from there. There'll be no show next Thursday. Okay. So just keep that in mind. But
2 weeks.
We're good.
2 weeks, baby.
Yeah, 2 weeks. I gotta just enjoy myself a little bit.
Okay, let me know. Run. Text me when you're out here.
Yeah, and I'll be at NASCAR. Got great seats right at the finish line, brother. 20 rows up from the It's special.
Yeah, I gotta get out there for a baseball definitely this year in Arizona.
You should. Diamondbacks should be fun to watch. A lot of prep, and a lot of hype from prior to the season, but it's nice to get out of the heat and go watch a baseball game indoors. I'm really appreciative of that living in
Arizona. It's nice weather right there in Arizona now.
But I will be in California when the Yankees play the Dodgers, the Angels.
Yeah. Okay.
I think, and there's one more out there. I think there's three.
The Yankees are here June 2nd, 3rd, and 4th playing the Dodgers.
Yes. I have plenty of time for that. And then the Angels, and I'd love to see Mike Trout and Ohtani and all that.
Yeah, the Yankees go to Pittsburgh too.
You want that? You like that? You love your Pirates.
I love my Bucks, man. Okay, I love you too, brother. I love you too,
brother.
I'll see you in 2 weeks,
brother. It's like you sound like a wrestler to me, brother.
Yeah, Macho Man.
Macho. Oh, you look like the Macho Man. You got a little Macho Man look to you.
Yeah, I got the Macho Man thing today. I didn't put the gel in, man.
Did
So I gotta
Macho have long hair? Did he have like long hair
Yeah,
too
yeah.
before you cut it? Okay. All right. All right.
Okay, my
Macho Man.
brother.
All
Nobody
right.
touches this show. I love you.
I love you too, man. See ya.
Thank
He's out, and I'm still in for a little bit here, and then we'll say goodbye. My all-time favorite as a kid wrestler was Ernie Ladd, who was like a former football player. I think he played for the Chiefs, and he would always go in his underwear or whatever the little skinny little thing he would wear, little Speedo. And supposedly he pulls out like this thumb thing. He put it on his thumb, and then he pokes the guy, and the guy freaks out and falls down. And anytime Ernie Ladd needed to save himself in a fight, he pulls that out and puts it on his thumb. It was in his crotch. I don't know, but them in the what's the tag team combo, the Native American guys. I forget their names. But they were my favorites back then too. And then Bruno Sammartino, the legend himself, Bruno, and then Andre the Giant. Those are my guys when I watched wrestling. I kind of phased out of it after it. My all-time favorite WWE story is, again, I'm not a big fan, but I like doing things. And I brought this boy. He was autistic, all right, or Downs. He was a Down syndrome boy. He was Downs, big time, but he loved sports, and I would mentor him. I was a big brother to him. I would take him basketball courts, and I would sometimes go to a game, but he loved wrestling. He loved it. He would freak out and get nervous. And, when you've ever been around a Down syndrome person, they're got energy, man. And so I was told by his parents, they got tickets. Would you like to take them? I go, but the tickets are up against the ring. We're like front row, right there. And when they came out of the locker room, we were right there against the railing, right? It was amazing. I was like, this is pretty cool. And it was all the big stars were there, right? It was the big one. And he was so nervous, and it was so cute. But, I wanted him to reach his hand out to get high fives from the wrestlers coming out. He was so scared because they were like legends, like bigger than ever in his eyes. And the whole time, what a great time, because he died at a young age. Most of them do, Down syndrome. And to be around that experience and to see him go through something like that meant a lot. So that's my only really big connection with the WWE, other than today's story that they're trying to get into the gambling business and put their sport or whatever entertainment it is in 3 sports books around 3 different states. And I don't know how that plays out when you know who wins the fight, the outcome. And I do know that happens in boxing on certain fights, maybe the easier one, and they dump a bunch of money on it. And that's common. But WWE, you prep and plan and rehearse how it's going to play out. And I hope it doesn't happen. It'd be, somebody's making a lot of money. And that's pretty much how I see it. I don't see how it justifies any interest other than, it may be some wacky fan that likes it and go, I'm going to bet, like, okay. Okay. I have tickets to WWE at the end of the month. There it is. Who's that? Kathy said that. Hulk Hogan, The Undertaker. It was The Undertaker. I remember him. International's Men's Day is on November 19th. Oh, who's that? Karen said that. International Men's Day, November 19th. All right. I'm going to remember that, because, like, Karen, you got ladies, tell me the truth. When it's International Men's Day, do men get like all this love all over the internet and like man this and like national media and everybody steps way out to just make this a very known day? Men don't get that. Yeah, we're it's like we get deprived, we get kicked to the curb. Come on, right? It don't bother me. I don't care what day it is. I don't care if it's Taco Day. I don't care what it is. German Shepherd Day. It don't matter. The day is your day, and you live your way, and it's your day every day. It don't matter what you look like, who you are, blah, whatever. Just be you and live your day like it's every day, special day for you. Keep living, right? I should say it all the time. Keep living. Don't stop living, right? So I don't really get into tomorrow's going to be Pineapple Day. Oh, I found out that pineapple means a symbol for swingers, by the way. I don't know if you heard that one. It just came out of my mouth. Don't read into that too much, please. But yeah, I just found that out. I know. Pineapples. Anyway, all right. I got to wrap it up. I threw a lot out there for you and at the top of the show and throughout, and I repeated myself a few times, but that's okay because I wanted to make sure everybody got a chance to hear stories tonight, and they did. Okay, I got to get my sponsors back on the screen again. If you haven't seen them yet, I got my T-shirts. Hey, I'm making my own T-shirts. I even bought something to make them and deliver and send them out myself. I was going through another company for it, but now I'm doing it my way. I got it all set up. I'm looking for it. It's like a little hobby, make a little money, but share the love because my messages on my T-shirts are there. And also, as my sponsors are scrolling at the bottom of the screen itself, Dr.REDDY, gastrologist right there. I'm actually going to go see him. I got to go see him in a few weeks, and I'm looking forward to that because I haven't seen him in 4 years, maybe 5 years. I think everybody should go see the gastrologist 4 to 5 years of their life. A Peaceful War, the book itself about the human computer chip itself, Double B Lodge in Pine Top, Arizona. Got a lot of snow up there. It's great. Still get up there before it starts to melt away as we were warming up in Arizona. And GED, conscious active wear. Mostly for women as they're building up on their menswear itself. It's sort of like that Lululemon, but hey, I got some products just as good, folks, or better. It's amazing stuff. Geed.com. Look it up as it scrolls across the bottom of the screen itself. And JJ Grub Shack, always got to give them love as they worked with me for a few months during the football season itself. I got 2 more sponsors coming in. Haven't finalized it yet, but looking forward to it too. All right, let me get that off the screen itself. Let's get the music up because that's what I like to do is play some music, and we'll be out of here in a few seconds here. But hey, share my show. Oh, let's get that music down a little bit. Share my show if you can. Share it with wherever you can. Put it out there. I appreciate it. Love you guys. Thanks for hanging with me for a couple of hours here on Hanna Time, Global Sports Broadcasting Network. We'll see you soon, guys. Love ya. Let's go.